Hey, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Brasted. Commissioner West. Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner.
Here.
Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Terrific. And next we'll move on to tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Brasted, second by Commissioner West. Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brasted.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Next, we'll have a review of checks issued from Finance and Central Services and from Human Services. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Look, second by Commissioner Gamache. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And that will pass unanimous. Next, we'll look for approval of the minutes from the June 25th, 2019 County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Commissioner Brasted,
Second.
Mr.
second
Chair,
by Commissioner Meisner.
Mr. Chair, I might want to just a kind of a point of order. The checks, that probably should have been a roll call vote as an expenditure of money. So if I may direct the chair to probably do that. Have we done that in the past?
No, we have not.
We have not done it? Okay. If we are expending money, actually, we have to do a roll call vote. So I might suggest that we look at that as another vote for a roll call vote. 13D05, the Minnesota statute requires any time this county board expends money that there has to be a roll call vote. So, okay.
Thank you, Tony. I know in my tenure here, we have never done that, but we can certainly change that if we research that and find out that's accurate. This money's already been expended, and maybe that's why.
Okay.
Maybe it's already been voted on and approved, and that's why we do
Okay.
the vote by
If
acclamation.
it's already been approved by the board, then that's fine.
And that's my assumption. I think we should just do the research to make sure, but I think we've done that research in the past, but it's good to refresh it. And
Okay.
Is it your suggestion that we do a roll call vote today on that previous item for safety reasons?
If it's already been approved, Commissioner, in previous times, then I'm okay with it. I just need to know that the board has weighed in on it individually, an expenditure of money. And if it has done so in the past, then I'm okay with it.
Terrific, thank you. So we won't go back and redo that today. We'll just make sure we're doing it right going forward, and I think we are, but we'll verify that. And if I recall correctly, we have a motion and a second on the floor for the minutes, and we're looking for any other discussion or changes to the minutes. Seeing none, those in favor of approval of the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The minutes are adopted from June 25th of 2019. Next, we'll go to Chair's Remarks, and we have just one item today under Chair's Remarks. It's hard to believe, but it is already time for the Anoka County Fair. In just 14 days, more than 40,000 visitors will make their way to the fairgrounds, which is absolutely incredible. I'd like Commissioner Look, who serves on the Fairgrounds Advisory Committee, to tell us more about this great event and what's coming up. Matt.
Thank you, Commissioner Schulte. This year is going to be another fun year at the fair. We certainly want to invite everyone out. It starts on Tuesday the 23rd and runs through Sunday the 28th. There's a website, www.anokacountyfair.com, where you can see the schedule, all the entertainment, directions, and much more. We wanted to clarify that although it's called the Anoka County Fair, it's not owned by the county. We do own the land that's out there, but this is put on by the Fair Board, and it's actually wouldn't go down without all the help and the volunteers that are out there. And I want to just put a shout out to these people. They take time out of their vacations to show up, spend the entire week there. Many of them are sunburned by the end of the time, and they just do a tremendous job. And when you talk to them, they have a smile on their face, absolutely love what they're doing, and they're coming back next year and year after year after year. So they work diligently, and they do a great job, and they help, I think, all of our Anoka County residents have just a fantastic time there. So what's new? We have 4-H exhibits, of course, every single year. Really a treat for the families that participate in that. We have open class exhibits for vegetables, flowers, needlework, culinary, Anything that you might find interesting is certainly there, and of course, those that get the blue ribbons get to move on to the state fair, and that's always a challenge for them, and we wish them well. As far as the grandstand events, Tuesday night is motocross racing. I think a lot of kids love going to that and seeing the motorcycles jump on that. Wednesday is bull riding, always a popular deal with mutton busting for the kids. Something, if you haven't seen, it's a must see. Thursday and Friday is the NTPA tractor pull competition. I want to suggest that you come early to try and find seats because that fills up, and it's a very popular deal. Saturday is the ATV Big Air event. There's 2 shows at 1 and 7 p.m. And if you haven't seen this, it is quite honestly one of the most amazing things. As they come through and they jump, they clear the height of the grandstand. I mean, it's unbelievable how crazy these people get, and it's all controlled. I mean, they do a great job. I don't think I've seen an accident out there yet. Hopefully this year they continue in that safety that they're so well known for. Sunday is a demo derby at 3 p.m. And again, if you want to attend that, be sure to come early because that one packs out as well. And it's just a hoot to see these new cars get smashed up. Not new, but cars that they paint up very nicely. And there's actually, I've talked to a few people about it, and Commissioner Schulte, I think you told me once that racing is cheating or something of that nature, but nevertheless, the way they put concrete in various areas of these cars, I think to try and win, it's just amusing to watch. So definitely come early for that. If you're into music, it's amazing amount of music you can get into there, especially the young people that come and perform. Just do a fantastic job, so be sure to see that. There's horse shows, dog shows, live sawmill demonstrations, amongst other attractions. There's amazing fireworks on Wednesday evening only, so if you want to see fireworks, that's always a great show. All this, of course, is free with your paid admission, and parking is free. So again, I think the Boy Scouts do the parking there where they help, I think they pay them to help direct people into parking spots. They always do a fantastic job there. But we would like to invite you to the flag raising event. That's Tuesday at noon, July 23rd, where we honor vets, and we have just a great time kind of kicking off the fair. So if you're available on Tuesday at noon, be sure to stop by for that. I should mention that many of us will be there as well at the County Commissioner booth. Please stop by, say hello. We'll be there answering questions. If you're interested in parks information or anything else that the county might be involved in. Veteran services, I know, is a popular topic. People stop and see that. The Highway Department has a booth there. They have their traditional Name That Snowplow. You want to participate in that, and I'm surprised at the creativity that people come up with for those snowplow names. So, and there's a prize for that, as I understand. Oh, let me see. The past winners are Hans Snowlow, Plow Bunyan, Blizzard Wizard, and of course the sheriff and the attorney's office are there as well. I know, Tony, you put time in out there, and I think you give out the free tickets to the rides down at Mall of America, which don't sit very well with me because I know my kids like getting those and then making me go on them. So
I understand that, Commissioner. I do have to apologize for you winning those.
Yes, I'll have to take some Dramamine. But nevertheless, it's good old-fashioned fun, and I know a lot of people enjoy it. And again, I just want to say thank you to all the countless volunteers that are out there, the people that really make this happen every single year. They do a fantastic job, and we want to be sure to recognize them for that. Again, it runs Tuesday, July 23rd through Sunday, July 28th. Typically, Mike Allers is here giving a presentation for the county fair. Unfortunately, he had a back injury, so he's kind of down and out right now. So we wish him well in recovery here as the fair is coming upon us pretty quickly, and I know he does a lot of work out there. So hope you feel better soon, Mike. And aside from that, Mr. Chair, I think we covered it.
Well, thank you, Matt, for sharing everything that's going on out there at the fair this year. And again, if you'd like more information about the events, judging, entertainment, please go to anokacountyfair.com. Now, on to committee reports. And first, we will turn to Commissioner West for the Management Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have one action item, and it's a new position, appoint 6 FTE in administration, facilities, and management. Right now, we have one FTE that cleans highway, field operations, and the licensing centers, and that is just too big a load for one FTE, so they're asking for a new .6 that will clean the field offices and the licensing centers.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gamache. Further discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
And that action passes.
Mr. Chairman, the rest is informational. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner West. And next we'll move on to the Transportation Chair Report. I have one item for you today. I recommend approval to enter into an encroachment agreement with Magellan Pipeline for roadway work that is being performed within their pipeline easement associated with Project SP 002-618-032. And I will move that.
I'll second.
And a second by Commissioner Brassad. As a point so everybody understands what this is, there's a pipeline underneath the road, and we're simply adding shoulders to the road. And so we needed to have an agreement with the pipeline owners that would be working on top of their pipeline. So it's really kind of a liability thing. So that's the agreement that we're entering into, an already existing contract with Magellan. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
And that action passes. Next, we will move on to the Intergovernmental and Community Relations Committee Chair Report. Commissioner Brassad.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would recommend the county board approve contract C0007320 with Hennepin Healthcare System to provide autopsy services with an annual revenue of $25,000 for a term of 1 year. This is a brand-new agreement, and we're excited to be able to offer our services. So I'll move that.
There is a motion
Second.
and a second by Commissioner West. Is there further discussion? Commissioner
Mr. Chair,
Meisner.
yes, because my understanding, right, is we do this service for multiple partners. So this is just an addition, correct? Very good. Thank you.
Further discussion? With that, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache, Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye. And that item passes as well. Next, we'll move on to the Internal Audit Committee Report. Commissioner Look.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Internal Audit Committee met on June 24th, 2019, and this was an opportunity to meet with the Office of State Auditor, came in to give an annual review of the county financial statements. We have this every single year. The good news is the review resulted in a clean, unmodified opinion, which is the best that the county can get. There are always, it seems there's always specific areas where they'll comment on for internal controls that can be improved. I recall them saying document, document, document. So it's kind of a point where they're always looking for backup information for decisions that are made. So where not all documentation was available, they kind of highlighted that, or perhaps there was human error in terms of inputting something incorrectly. They would mention that. And we kind of briefly chatted a little bit about that, because as people get busy, they take a phone call or whatever. I mean, things are flying. You can understand why this happens. Or if we have new employees that are maybe not as accustomed to the pitfalls, that may occur, issues can arise. So certainly they're there to kind of check over some of these areas and make recommendations on that, and they've done so this time. There's also, in terms of federal assistance programs, there's recommendations to make sure that there's a suspension and debarment language, which our attorney may be aware of. And this is a new requirement that we need to include in all of our contracts. And where that wasn't included, they're specifically looking for those things and made some suggestions on that. But overall, I think as they go around and they audit various different counties, they are aware of best management practices. If we don't have those here, they'll recommend them, and certainly we can implement those. And I've yet to, I think, see any department head say, that's a terrible idea. I mean, they say, no, that's good, and I'm glad you suggested that, and they're able to implement that. So aside from that, there is a report available to commissioners and those interested, and it would be, I think, good that we pass with flying colors. So Chuck is here, obviously, helps us navigate through this, does a great job, so thank you, Chuck, for that. And we had another great audit this year. So.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Look. Any questions for Commissioner Look? Commissioner Meisner?
Oh, just thank you, Mr. Chair. Just commentary. As a new commissioner, I was so impressed and overwhelmed by the magnitude of the volume of what it means to do this audit. Really helpful to have an internal audit here at our county with Chuck, so that's really great. And then just to add on to the human error component, because for one of them with human services, there's also the client human error component, and so I just did want to also point that out, that that's just another factor where the client is maybe perhaps filling out the paperwork and did it incorrectly. But even with all of that, the percentage of the pings that we got, if you will, or that sort of thing was, to me, very impressive, again, with the volume of work that this county does. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Look. Before we move on to parks, I want to step back and ask the IG chair if she was done. I didn't ask her if her report was concluded. I just moved right on to Commissioner Look. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was complete with my report, but thank you for asking.
Breasted. With that, we will move on to the Parks Committee report and turn to Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Parks Committee met on Tuesday, July 2nd. We have 5 action items and a couple of committee action items as well. The first one, the committee recommends the county board to authorize 3 Metro Parks and Trails legacy grant agreements for projects within the regional park system. The county will be receiving 3 Metropolitan Council Parks and Trail Legacy Grant agreements for 3 projects, and they are $1 million for Bunker Beach wave pools reconstruction and asset management. Approximately $350,000 for upgrading the interpretive displays at Wargo Nature Center in Anoka County. And the third is approximately $315,000 for partial acquisition of Rum River Central Regional Park in Anoka County as well. Mr. Perry is with us here as well. Did you want to add anything, Jeff, to this? And this is a big part of what we do hopefully every year when we get grants from the Metropolitan Council. So I'll open it up if you have any additional comments.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Jeff Perry, Park Director for Anoka County. Yeah, just 3 very important projects. These stem from the constitutional amendment money from 2008, the 3/8% that was instituted back in 2008. So the county receives an annual appropriation every year of approximately about $1.4 million. These are projects that are intended to go into infrastructure and new projects. And these 3 projects are very well needed, will definitely complement the regional park system here in Anoka County.
Thanks, Jeff, and I'll move it.
There's a motion.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Look. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
And that passes. Item 2.
Item 2, Mr. Chair, is the county board. We're asking the county board to reject all bids for the Bunker Hills Trails and Bunker Beach parking lot reconstruction project. We did receive a bid. I believe it was just 1 bid, correct, Jeff, or was it? There was 2 bids. That's right. And they came in higher than what we had expected. And the thought process is that we reject them now, go back, relook at them, and bid them at a better time where the bidding environment will be better. And so right now we're just rejecting those, and I'll make that motion.
There's a motion to reject the bids and a second from Commissioner West. Is there further discussion? My assumption is this was all a timing thing. Everybody's busy doing projects right now, so all their bids are gonna be high because they don't want to take on new work.
Correct. Very similar to the issues that the highway department was dealing with.
Same with highways, so it's, just makes more sense to let the bid when the environment's more appealing. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, yeah, I do have a question about exactly that with the kind of the cyclical advantage or disadvantage of going out for bids. Do we typically, I mean, should we be just having bids in winter, for example, if that's like more advantageous to get a better bid? And it's just a question, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah.
Well, I would comment from a transportation perspective that it changes with years. Some
Right.
years, it's best to get the bid out early in the fall. Some years, you're better to wait until the spring. It really depends on
Okay.
the active building climate and how many contractors are out there and how busy they are. So we do have guys that are folks that are in charge of these divisions are pretty sharp with this stuff. But every once in a while, you'll throw a bid out just hoping you get a reasonable bid from somebody, knowing full well that you might have to deny the bids
Okay.
and go out again.
Thank you.
Yeah, and right now, Mr. Chair, right now, everything is very busy. Construction across the whole metro area, and even road projects is going on within the cities that I've heard of. Oh, I've got one going on in my neighborhood, that's probably why I heard about it. They get moved, all of a sudden they're moving, making great progress, and then because of another contract that they have it written down, and because the cities usually don't bind them to a time frame, they'll move on and start another project, and the project will sit in your neighborhood for a couple of weeks, and then they come back and they finish it up. But that's just the nature of the economy right now with construction, so.
Very true. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? And that will pass unanimous. Item 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The committee recommends the county board authorize Jeff Perry, Parks Director, or his designee to execute all documents necessary to complete the purchase of property located at 18055 Roanoke Street, Northwest in Ramsey, for the cash purchase price of $300,000 plus closing costs and applicable fees, which is the fair market value established by the county's appraisal. This is our contract C0007318. This is a piece of property that is surrounded by our Rum River Central Regional Park, and has always been with the idea that once they sold or once they were planning to sell the property, that they would come to us first, and we'd have right of first refusal. And this is a great addition to the park. There is a couple different buildings on there that we are probably going to keep. We're likely to keep because they are in good shape and can be used for a number of different things, including some storage or maybe even having some meeting space or even interpretive space that we could use as well. So this was a good deal, and a good deal for the resident, the family that was moving, and also for the county. So I would move that.
There's a motion and a second by Commissioner Look. Further discussion? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
And that passes. Next, we'll move on to item 4.
Item 4, Mr. Chair, is a resolution relating to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Snowmobile and Cross-Country Ski Trails Grant and Aid Program. I realize it's 90 degrees and humid outside, but we do get these grants every year to prepare those trails and to help work with snowmobile clubs across the Anoka County area to help them get trails prepared. So I'll move the recommendation.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that resolution is adopted. Item 5.
Item 5, Mr. Chair, is to recommend to the county board to enter into a lease agreement with the University of Minnesota Extension for office space on the lower level of Bunker Hills Activity Center. We have had various leases with the extension over the years, and we feel this is a pretty good deal that has been negotiated with the extension services on what we need and what they need, and we'll move forward with that.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Meisner,
Second.
second by Commissioner Look. Further discussion? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache, Commissioner Look.
Aye.
And that action passes.
And Mr. Chair, we had two committee action items. One I wanted to mention, it was the committee recommends that the county should not participate financially in the pedestrian bridge proposed to go over Coon Rapids Boulevard of the city of Coon Rapids due to limitations in available funding and other commitments for reimbursements that are still pending. And this looks like a great project that the city has looked at. It's an expensive project that the city has looked at, so we're more than happy to give our support to them trying to find funding on their own if they possibly can. We realize it's going over our county road. At this point in time, I know that we have the county trails running towards the lights, the signals, so they are controlled intersections. Granted, Coon Rapids Boulevard is a wide road, so there are some issues that we're going to be concerned about. But at this point in time, we just don't really have the necessary, or not in the position that we'd like to be able to promise them any money moving forward with this. So the Parks Committee decided to just thank them for their efforts, and if they are able to come up with some funding somewhere, we'll be happy to help. Not financially, but we'll be happy to do what we can to make sure that we're there for them at some point in time. But again, we just right now we have kind of funded a number of different projects. One of them being, of course, the bridge or the tunnel underneath Bunker Boulevard up in Andover, where the city forwarded us the money, and now we're going to pay them back. We also have two projects that we had worked on in Coon Rapids, or same type of thing for tunnel or for trails, where we had done the project either on the county road or on a highway, and they helped us pay for it, but we're going to be paying them back once the funding is available. So, and that's kind of where we left that at this point in time. Thank you, Mr. Look.
Commissioner Look.
Mr. Chair, yeah, I'd just like to comment on this as well. I think in terms of cooperation, it would be in our right of way where they'd be building this, so we would need to cooperate with them on that if they were to put together the funding necessary to build it. But City of Ramsey also asked for a similar request over Highway 10 and similar sort of dollars, and we tried to help them in terms of realigning trails so that they could then apply for dollars federally or through the state to facilitate that. But again, I think that the position is the same position that we took with Ramsey, and that will be supportive from the background, but from a financial standpoint, you know, they need to try and put together those dollars on their own, and it would be a little disingenuous to support the Coon Rapids project after denying Ramsey's project or any other projects that might be coming up. So I think it's kind of consistent with where we've been in the past and moving forward. So probably a great project, looked beautiful, looked like a nice project, and we certainly wish them well in lobbying for dollars at the state or federal level. So.
And if I'm understanding correctly, we wouldn't be opposed to them going to the legislature for bonding dollars, and we would probably even support them in that process.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
That would be my assumption.
I would think so.
Commissioner Meisner.
Yeah, but Mr. Chair, actually, I was just going to ask that in this situation for both Coon Rapids and the Ramsey, do we do any letters of support or anything like that, or is it just kind of in the background, if you will, that we are supportive?
It would be something that I think would go through the IG committee at this point, the
Okay.
Intergovernmental Committee, and they would determine as a committee whether or not we should actively support or passively support or oppose. I mean, there's all these options when it comes to legislative ideals. And
Okay.
we would decide through the Intergovernmental Committee at this point whether or not we would do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I can, they also would come before this board to grant them an easement if they were to pass over our highway. So it will be reviewed by us once again, as Commissioner Luck alluded to. So.
Perfect.
And Mr. Chair, just one last thing. This was an informational item. We did have an update on the 2019 operation at Chamonix Golf Course. I know there's a lot of interest in how things are going. We had, as everybody recalls, a rather wet early spring, and things, at that point in time, golf was down a little bit, just from the nature of what was happening. But June was very good. Things have started to bounce back. We also had a very good May into June rental of our facilities for grad parties. We're working at that angle, and we picked up we had some bookings, and we picked up some dollars in that as well. So as the summer goes along, we'll start seeing more of our reports coming in. We should have the finals of June shortly, if they're not already ready, but they'll be ready quickly. And we're expecting that we're going to just have a nice, beautiful summer the rest of the year, and the rain will stop after we get through the 3M Open Golf Tournament with no real rain issues. I expect that's just going to continue all summer, and Chamonix is going to be in fantastic shape.
I appreciate your optimism. Commissioner Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Speaking about Chamonix, we were just chatting about this. Jeff, is the portal for the financials on the public-facing side, is that up and running yet, or not yet until you get more data aggregated?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Meisner, yes, it is up on the public site.
It is.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, I just want to sincerely thank you because, again, I remember when this all went down initially, and there was a gentleman at the Parks Committee, and he was like, "Hey, where can I see the financials?" And at that time, it was specifically with a data request. So I really appreciate you making a tool that is accessible to the public. And again, my thing is, it's a two-way street. So now the public can see in real time how Chamonix is doing, if they should get up there and golf at Chamonix. So thank you very much.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Gamache. Anything else to come before the county board? Seeing none, we are adjourned.